Okay, welcome to week 3 of the 2020 WebCenter Olympics, an online training and contest for the Web Solutions division. I want to thank you all for being on tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about approaching candidates and setting appointments, right? The most important action that we can take in our business is setting appointments to share information. So we're going to go through that process, and then next week we'll talk about qualifying appointments, or what really makes a qualified appointment as well. So where does it all start? Well, let's take a look at this. What are we selling? Are we selling the technology, right? Are we selling the platform itself? Are we selling the features and the benefits of what we have to offer? Or are we simply selling the appointment, right? What do you think? We're selling what? The appointment. That's right? We sell nothing more than the appointment. If you find yourself telling, you're selling. And if you find that you're not listening, you're not really interested, right? Are you interested or interesting? And we've talked about that in prior trainings. But what I want you to focus on is the fact that we're not pitching or promoting a product or a service. We're not selling websites. We're not selling digital marketing. We're selling the appointment to share information by which we can learn more about their business and provide some solutions, right? So our proven system really is built upon selling appointments and leveraging our teams of professionals to do that heavy lifting, right? So think of it as a referral approach. It's simple, it's effective, and it really is our simple sales system. And we've seen so much success over decades of people that have followed the system. So up to this point, you have a candidate list. 20 names, 50 names, 60 names, 100 names, all business candidates in your community that you have written down. You have some type of relationship with them, whether you know them socially, personally, maybe you're a patron there, or there's someone that's just simply in your community, right? You've done a little bit of current research, trying to figure out what their online presence is like. You've done a Google search. You found out if they have a website, if they don't have a website. Is it a mobile-friendly website? Where do they show up on Google? Do they have competitors that are showing up on Google? Are they on social media, and are they active on social media, right? You've done a little bit of homework on some of these candidates. Now, the next important thing is that you need to strategize and decide how you will contact them, right? So the best form of communication and the preferred form is really how you normally engage with these individuals. Now, I know that a lot of us may not have that face-to-face interaction right now, but certainly a phone call, maybe a text message, or a social media direct message. However you normally would engage or interact or communicate with these individuals, you want to do it the same way, as well as your tonality, right? And your personality. If it's a colder contact that you don't have a social relationship with, you don't want to make it too casual. However, if it is someone that you've got a relationship with in a social form, you don't want to be too professional and seem like not yourself. So keep that in mind as you start approaching these candidates, right? So what is the purpose and the goal of the contact, right? It's really simply to start a conversation and identify a couple things. One, is there a need, right? Two, could we potentially help them with that need? And three, would they be willing to do a 15-minute consultation? Now, again, you might not call it a consultation to one of your friends. You might call it an appointment, a meeting, a get-together. Let's catch up over coffee, right? You might be more casual about it, but also realize that could we potentially help them with that need? It may or may not be about one of our products or services. You might be able to connect with someone and offer something through another connection, networking, as you meet many other businesses, right? So you provide value to them. And I think that's why it's simply easy to schedule these 10 or 15-minute appointments to start. Right? It comes down to conversational marketing. It comes down to having conversations with people. It's not about promoting. It's not about pitching. It's not about presenting. It's not even about sharing information at this point. It's about having a conversation, being social. And through that social communication, it's how is work going? How are things going right now for you? How is business? And it starts that conversation about business, and it takes away from social. So that's how you can bridge the gap. That bridges the gap from family, occupation, recreation, money, and those types of questions, and brings you from that conversation into more of a business conversation, simply asking how's work or how's business going right now. You can then simply further engage that conversation by asking more questions, right? You can simply say, oh my goodness, is social media helping with that? Is your Facebook page helping with that? Is your website helping with that? So remember, the person asking questions is the one who's really controlling the topic of conversation. And some people argue with me and they say, no, it's the person who's talking. And I said, well, you've never been in a conversation with a toddler before, have you? Right? You take a conversation with a toddler, 3, 4 years old, and who's really steering that conversation, right? It's the child, right? Why does this happen? What is this? But why? Who's that? Who are they? How do you know them? Why? But why? But why? And you could have a 30-minute conversation, and really they have steered it the entire time. So how do you control a conversation? It's by being in control of asking questions. The person who asks questions will steer the conversation. So if you do get in a scenario where they start asking questions, simply answer the question and then finish by asking your own question. And as quickly as that, you have now regained that dialogue volley because you're in charge of the questions, right? So if I'm asking questions about their business and a website, then guess what the subject is? It's their business and their website. If you're talking about social media and you're asking them questions about their Facebook engagement, what are you talking about? You're talking about social media and their Facebook engagement, right? So you can steer those conversations just by asking the right question. Now, the other reason why it's important to ask questions is because that's how you're continuing to build rapport, getting them to know you, getting them to like you, getting them to trust you, getting your brand to really be about adding value, right? You're going to become the most valuable person to them because you allow them to talk about their favorite topic and their subject, which is them and their business. That's going to increase the likelihood that they are going to want to further the relationship with you. Okay, so when you ask a question simply like, is your website helping with that? You're going to get a response. You're going to get an answer, and it's usually going to fall into one of these categories. One, they don't have a website. Great, now you can help them. Maybe it's, I'm working on it. Great, ask them how long they've been working on it. The website's doing terrible. Great, because we might be able to help them, right? The website is doing great. Well, actually, that's fantastic for them, right? Now you can ask more questions. Worst case, just follow up in a couple months and see how it's going. Or further questions can uncover other pain points. And we'll talk about those right now. So you're going to find that when you ask that question, is your social media helping with that? Is your digital marketing helping with that? Is your website helping with that? It's going to fall into one of these categories. So let's explore how you can continue the conversation with some more questions, right? Let's say they say the website's doing great. Don't just take that, ask more questions. A great one is, what do you like about it, right? What do you like most about it? Right? Is there anything you wish your website would do that it isn't? And more times than not, there's one or two things that they wish it were doing, or things that they wish the process was a little easier, that they're not too comfortable with, right? It uncovers some pain there. Great. How are you promoting it, right? Are you found on the search engines? Are you using social media? Are you doing any advertising on Google? So don't just let them answer the question. You need to dig a little further. And when you ask that, it actually shows that you're interested and you're engaged in their business. Now, you're not trying to promote or solve a problem yet. You're not trying to sell them a website. You're not trying to sell them a service. You're just simply gathering data. Now, what about someone who says my website's terrible? You don't want to then say, oh, great, well, let me sell you a website, or let me get you on an appointment. We can get you a website. We can turn that around. No, have the dialogue. What's wrong with it? What's it doing? What's it not doing that you wish it were doing, right? Let them expose their pain a little bit so that you can better understand their challenge, because that's going to better qualify your appointment when you do set up an appointment with a product specialist, right? When you uncover the things that they're looking for, it's more than just the website. They don't want just a good website. There's something else under there, and you need to uncover it in order to really have the best qualified appointment. Now, what happens if they don't have a website? I don't have a website. We're using our Facebook page, or we don't have a website, right? Keep asking questions. Well, have you ever had one? Have you had one in the past? Have you thought about having one? And they're going to answer, yeah, we had one, but then the web developer let it go. Or my son or daughter created it, but we just let it go. Or we found that it was too expensive, or we couldn't manage it. They'll give you more information, right? What kept you from getting one? Oh, well, we do most of our business through word of mouth, so we didn't think it was valuable. Congratulate, that's great. So how are you capitalizing on that word of mouth advertising? Are you using social media? How are you promoting your business? Right? Start a conversation. You might share some little interest creating remarks like, well, how are people that don't know you finding out about you or finding you? Because if you're on social media, it's really helpful for people that already know you and like you or follow your channel. And that might be a little bit difficult for someone who's just searching for someone who provides your service. Have you ever thought of that? Again, asking a question to further clarify how much they really understand about their digital marketing. And of course, the famous I'm working on it or so-and-so is working on it, right? That's usually a smokescreen. Ask another question. Great. Who's doing it? Who's doing your site? Have they been working on it a while? Have you considered other options? How long have you been working on it? What is the challenge? Is it on the designer's end, the developer's end, or are things internally on your end slowing down that process, right? Find out, why is it taking long? Why isn't it released yet, right? And how are you currently marketing your business if your website's still being worked on right now? Again, you don't need to know the answers, okay? Most WebCenter owners, when they're first starting out, get concerned that they don't have the answers. They don't have the technical knowledge. Well, great information for you. You don't need it. You don't need the answers. You need to know the questions, right? So where can you find the questions? Well, some questions that you found in your prospect research, right? When you did your current research, you might have found that their website wasn't mobile friendly. Maybe you found that they're a restaurant, but when you click on menu, their menu isn't loaded on their site. It's a PDF that loads onto your phone, right? Maybe you found that their competitors were showing up in Google search, but they weren't. Or maybe their last social media post was from 2018, right? That research can help you develop questions rather than telling them. You can ask questions. How often are you on social media, right? Is your website friendly on a mobile device? Where is your competition showing up on Google, right? Because you can form it in a question that forces them to either answer it or to review where they're at, and then they can expose it to you, right? We also have questions that you can find from your 15-minute consultation, your assessment sheets, right? Loaded with questions that you can cherry pick as a way to start the conversation, right? And of course, we already went over some specific questions like reasons why they like their site or don't like their site, or what's prevented them, or why their site is underperforming. In many cases, they don't know if their website's working because there's no way for them to track it. There's no statistics. There's nothing that's really letting them know if the website's really doing anything for them, right? So it's up to you to uncover that information in a conversation, okay? So the key is to listen and learn ways that you can help. And again, you're not there to solve the problem in terms of providing the product. What you're looking for is to provide information and share the fact that you can connect them with a specialist that can help them, which again is the appointment. So the reason why these questions are important is because you might think they're a website candidate from your research, but after a conversation, you realize that they're more of a social media management candidate first, right? So you're going to find that information and really what their hot buttons are when it comes down to a conversation, right? So sell the problem that you want to solve, right? Now, you might be thinking, yeah, I want to solve their problem with a new website. Right. So let's set up an appointment, right? That's what you want to really have in your mind. If you keep the conversation focused on their challenges, setting the appointment is easy because the solution to the problem is an appointment with a specialist that can address their needs, right? An appointment where they're going to discover ways to solve their challenges. It might even be 10 or 15 minutes to talk more about their business, to share more, whereby you can close them into what? A demonstration with a specialist. They might say that they're having difficulties ranking in search engines. Oh my goodness, let's set some time aside and I can learn a little bit more about your business. Who are your competitors? Where are you found online? What are your target markets? And then get that information and say, I think we'll be able to help you out. Now is time to book an appointment. So when you find out there might be a good fit, how do you book the appointment? You've asked 3 to 5 questions and have a pretty good handle on what's going on, what their challenge is. They're asking some questions, which means that those are buying signs. They're curious, they're interested, they're asking information, and now's the time to offer a solution. And the solution is an appointment. So it might sound like this. Joe, I work with a great company that has an entire division that specializes in helping small businesses leverage the internet. I'd love to set up a quick 10 or 15-minute conversation with you to see if we're able to help you out with your website. How soon can we set something up? right? Hey, you know, Joe, I work with a great company that's an entire division specializing in helping restaurants with their online presence. I'd love to set up maybe 10 or 15-minute conversation to learn a little bit more about what's going on with your business right now and see if we might be able to help you out. How soon can we set something up? You know, Joe, I work with a great company that has an entire division specializing in helping companies with their social media management. You know, I'd love to set up some time to chat a little bit more about it to see if there's a way that I can help you out. How soon can we set up a time to meet? So a couple things, right? The more specific you can be. You've got a great company that has a division specializing in helping their business or their industry with the internet, with social media, with search engine optimization, with mobile responsive websites, with website design, right? Online reputation management. I'd love to set up maybe 10 or 15-minute conversation, right? Not a consultation, depending if it's a social relationship. 10 or 15-minute conversation to see if we can maybe uncover some things that might be a way to help you out, right? And instead of when are you available, how soon? How soon creates a sense of urgency. How soon can we set something up, right? And that is going to make sure that you can tie down a valuable appointment. Now, if someone has extreme interest, they're very curious, you can tell that they are motivated to act quickly, you might set an appointment with a product specialist immediately, right? You know, Joe, I work with a great company that has an entire division specializing in helping restaurants with their online presence. What I'd love to do is get you on the phone with a website expert, a specialist from our company to see how we might be able to help you out. How soon can I set that up for you? Right? That's a great way to set the appointment. Now, what I'll tell you is that you can back into that consultation appointment in your confirmation. So you set up the demonstration appointment through the sales appointment wizard on your WebCenter, and it's scheduled, let's say, for Friday. Well, on Thursday, rather than saying, are we still on for Friday? On Thursday, you say, hey, Joe, I'm so happy we're able to get our top website specialist on our call for tomorrow, but they wanted to make sure that they were able to customize it to your needs. So they wanted me to ask you a couple questions so they can tailor their presentation to exactly what your needs are. Do you have a couple minutes where I can ask you a couple questions from the specialist? And then go through the 10 to 15 minute conversation using the consultation sheet and gather that additional information that then you can share with the product specialist in the notes section. And now you've got an extremely qualified appointment. And I hope the new WebCenter owners are realizing that these are the tips and the tricks that have made our successful WebCenter owners sell more website solutions and more digital marketing products, as well as for a higher ticket price because of these little things, right? So again, you got to get used to that language. You got to practice. You got to role play. But the idea is that you're not trying to sell the product or the service. You're trying to set the appointment, right? Sell the appointment. And when you do that, you're also minimizing the chance of getting questions, right? Because you're not the expert. You've got the division that handles that, the expert that handles that. You don't know exactly what they need. So you can't promote or propose anything. They're not going to ask you about price. They're not going to ask you for sample sites of clients that you've worked on. They're going to ask those questions that are hard for people to answer or address if they're just getting started. Focus on leveraging the teams of professionals, right? So as a reminder, those professionals include product specialists and sales support. Now, when you set an appointment, you don't want to say, yeah, I want to set up an appointment with our sales team to talk to you, right? That's a good way for them not to show up to that appointment. They're product specialists, they're website specialists, they're SEO specialists, they're social media experts, they're social media gurus, right? You don't want to reference them as sales support, right? They're product teams, product specialists. We also have design and digital teams and of course customer care. So you want to leverage these professionals because they're working on your behalf. So with that being said, you really want to focus on taking that list of candidates, doing your current research, and now you're at the point where you should be scheduling consultation appointments, Zoom meetings, coffee over Zoom, a cup of tea over Zoom, a FaceTime, a text message to try and set a time to have a phone call. Now's the time to start approaching and inviting and booking appointments for those 10 or 15-minute conversations. And for those highly motivated folks, you might be able to push them right into a demo appointment. So your homework this week to take action is 1, continue to learn, practice, and use the referral networking approach that we talked about last week, right? Scheduling those networking appointments just to meet and greet new people. And right now, more than ever, people need to be connected. And if you can be the connector and grab a couple people and put them on a video Zoom conference, you are going to make out because you're going to be seen as a valuable connector in your community. Approach 2 per day for these networking appointments. Every single day, you reach out to 2 new people and say, hey, I'd love to connect. I'd love to learn more about your business. Hey, I'm going to do a video conference for businesses in the area so we can kind of talk about what's happening right now. I'd love to have you on the line. We're going to do it on Thursday. Right? Great way to get some conversation started. Now, lastly, contact 2 per day from your candidate list and start booking these consultation appointments. Don't wait, right? Success is going to come down to activity, right? Activity leads to results. Now, attitude is part of it. Yes. Skill is part of it. And activity is part of it, for sure. You need attitude, activity, and skill. However, what you lack for in skill, you can make up for in activity. And what you will learn through activity are the skills necessary to see huge success, right? So you've got the attitude, the knowledge, you've been plugged in. Now it's time to get out there and fail forward, right? You're not going to have 100% of the people that you try and schedule an appointment with show up or say yes. That's okay. That's part of it. But you're going to learn. Every single conversation that you have, you're going to learn something to do or to not to do in the next conversation, right? So you're going to learn as you go. It's that experiential learning. And it's so important to just get out there and start making mistakes, because through mistakes, you will learn and you'll improve. So the faster you can fail, the faster you'll succeed, right? Hurry up and fail so you can succeed quicker, right? Is really the attitude you want to have. So again, get out there, make a mess, get on social media, meet some new businesses, start chatting with some business owners on social media. Use your phone as a way and a tool to connect with people. Right now, face-to-face might be difficult, but you can certainly do it through video conferencing and other technology. So let's go out there and make it a great week. Put what you've learned so far into action, and you will simply succeed and hopefully be a 2020 WebCenter Olympic champion.